Heading into its third weekend, the Minecraft movie looks to be slowing down a little bit, but it's still making money hand over fist. I mean, take a look at this stuff, man. The money that it made last weekend, $40 million, okay? That it only ended up in second place, The Sinners, which was the biggest, original IP to come around in like a decade or so. So, kudos to that. Continue to hear mixed reviews of it. It's either very daring with a sketchy ending or it's just contrived the whole way. It's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other, but it's quite popular nonetheless. And I'm hearing conflicting reports whether or not it's going to be a financial success, but it looks to have the green light heading into this weekend. And yeah, Minecraft thankfully is, at least tracking behind Super Mario Brothers now at this point in time, but it still has a foothold on theaters, and well, it's continuing to make money. Okay, it made considerably less money in its second week, and now into its third week, it looks like, that's definitely not going to be the case, and hopefully by hook or by crook, okay, it doesn't crack that billion, and it really doesn't look like it's going to get there, mostly because some competition is going to start rolling in towards the end of May, and pretty much the memes on TikTok it's pretty much gone. Okay, like that trend and that fad is adios out of the theaters. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for the rest of the industry to just glom onto this trend. And yeah, if you want to shed a tear for storytelling right now, we can just all go ahead and get ahead of the curve so we could just laugh in our own sorrows as the entire industry burns around us. But hey, chicken jockey. And while the Minecraft movie is going to set the standard and it's going to just teach a bunch of stupid lessons, something that we can also hope ends up teaching a lot of good lessons, okay, to not go ahead and upset literally everybody, to not put a bunch of goofy ass CGI dwarfs in there, okay, to not hire one of the least talented, best looking actresses you can and have her act opposite of a chick that can sing well but can't comport herself in public. Disney's Snow White is going to teach a similar amount of lessons to Hollywood, as this thing is, well, it's officially died on the vine heading into this weekend. It's probably going to end up in fewer than 1,000 theaters because, this week, man, like, it's really bad. It's 35th day in theaters. The 34th day in theaters. We haven't got the Thursday numbers yet, but for the Wednesday, oh my god, 123,000, 1,600 theaters, $75 per theater. When you take a look at Minecraft's numbers, when it was still doing at this point in time, still doing $10,000 per theater, bro, that is wild. And so, when we get the fourth weekend, sixth. I was a little bit off. When we get the 6th weekend numbers, it's very likely to be circling the drain. Probably like 500 screens, maybe. But it's pretty much confirmed. It's not going to be hitting that 200 million unless, of course, there's just this really large resurgence overseas. But it really doesn't look like anybody's paying this any mind. This is a film that Disney is very, very much hoping you aren't going to remember after Lilo and Stitch comes in and very likely ends up making $1 billion. It'll probably also wash away everybody and their collective memories of the Minecraft movie, which it's going to be interesting to run back everything that happened in 2025 at the end of the year, but I don't want to rush through summer, okay? It's on the horizon right now, and looking forward to the calamity that is the July box office. That's going to be a problem in and of itself. But as May draws to a close, that's when the season is going to start picking up. Previously mentioned Lilo and Stitch live action, and then also the final Mission Impossible movie. Hopefully one's good. We know the Lilo and Stitch is just going to be slop, but hopefully Final Reckoning is more Fallout than Dead Reckoning, but we'll probably have a cool action set piece, and Tom Cruise's 60-year-old ass will be doing something that a level-headed 40-year-old wouldn't think to do in his wildest dreams. But I digress. What does Disney do moving forward with its live-action remakes? We've seen that the Tangled one ends up getting put on pause, but there's also the Hercules one that's out there as well, which I personally just, oh god, that's gonna suck a dick because the first one is so great. First one is so great. How are you possibly going to recast one of your best villains in Hades and even Samwise Gamgee, voicing Hercules? It's like, are they going to be so bold as to have Black Hercules? You could probably imagine that's exactly what they're going to do. But maybe having Latina Snow White bomb a film, maybe that'll be pause for cause for Disney. But I don't know, man. The way that the media is continuing to try to clean up and simp for this movie that is an utter unmitigated disaster, it's pretty pathetic. Now we'll be talking about Kelly Marie Tran tomorrow with her fan attacking outburst, but Rachel Zegler Okay, from Rachel Zegler to Kelly Marie Tran. Disney needs to stop hanging marginalized women out to dry. How so? Disney gave Rachel Zegler every opportunity to succeed. They were throwing everybody and everything that they could under the bus except for their little token princess. Kelly Marie Tran, like everybody, might have despised the character of Rose Tico. They weren't going after Kelly Marie Tran, and it wasn't until she needed to promote a new movie that she stuck her nose back in there, and everybody was like, yeah, you know what, maybe Rose Tico wasn't the problem. Maybe it was Kelly Marie Tran. Go fuck yourself. Nobody wants to hear your sob story about how Star Wars fans are racist. No, they wanted to give Finn a chance, and then they heard what John Boyega was all about, and it's like, you know what, I wish Rose was driving just a little bit faster when she T-boned you on your way to your big sacrifice at the end of TLJ. Instead of protecting what she loved and instead of fighting what she hates, she should have just protected you a little bit harder, a little bit more violently. But to think that Disney is throwing these chicks out to dry, that is a wild take, man. Because Disney is throwing the fandom under the bus. They're throwing everybody else except for these entitled chicks under the bus, specifically the Rachel Zegler. And well, I still think that Disney is going to employ her for a Marvel movie. I still think that she's going to be a part of the new X-Men. You just wait, okay? She hasn't got her time to shine in the Star Wars sunlight, and if Kathleen Kennedy is going to be hanging around and it's like, oh guys, yeah, she's going to be stepping down at the end of August. Which year are we talking about? 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? No, this time around 2025. Yeah, sure, man. She was also supposed to be stepping down last October, and then at the end of February. And you think we're gonna bite this time around? You're absolutely retarded. But no. She's gonna be there until that franchise, Lucasfilm, has to be pried from her cold, dead hands. So yeah, the Force is still very much female. Rachel Zegler, I don't know, man. Is there like a Rebels character? Is there a Clone Wars character that she can be in Dave Filoni's movie? Or is she going to be the pupil of Rey for that movie whenever it does come out? Who knows, man? Because there's an easy avenue now for Rachel to go ahead and rehab her very damaged persona. And if you take a look at her right now, I mean, I think rehab looks to be a good place. But we got to be a little bit, fair and a little bit soft to her right now, because apparently her dog, and I don't want to see this from anybody, like her dog's going through some tough stuff, and even though she is a complete and total mess and she's looking as homeless as it possibly gets, but yeah, I don't want to see anything happen to her dog, okay? She might be a total bitch, but I don't want to see anything happen to her little bitch. And so her picking up dog poop, that might be very much in her future, a professional dog walker, because the one thing that she could do, and a lot of people were saying, it's probably a good career move for her, at least in the short time. She was booking a play. She was booking a musical over on the UK shores, okay? She was going to be having a stint over in London on the west side of the West End. But, word seemed to have reached across the pond, and nobody's turning up for that. Oh shit, maybe that's why she's looking so upset and why she's spending so much time with her dog. Now, Rachel Zegler, yes, is set to star as Eva Peron in Evita, a revival of the 1978 Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice musical, directed by Jamie Lloyd. The show opens June 14th at the London Palladium and runs for 12 weeks. Well, it turns out, yes, similar to Snow White, nobody is buying goddamn tickets, okay? In an article published by the Daily Mail titled, Rachel Zegler keeps a low profile as woke Snow White disaster worsens. Yeah, that's what we had pulled up right here, but surely enough, checking the venue's websites does show a lot of empty seats and no sellouts. As the Daily Mail adds, June, July, August, and September's are all awash with green good availability, despite tickets starting at just £30, okay, $29.50 inside the 2,286 seat venue. That's not great. Okay, as you can see, on Saturday, you got a couple of the matinee showings, okay, at 2:30. Those are at least, hey man, availability medium, okay, so a few people have checked out, but as for the rest of the shows, oof, that's not great. But that is, a couple months out. Don't worry about it. The play doesn't open for a couple months, but again, with only a couple thousand seats and ticket prices so cheap, it's probably something to be concerned about. Very much so, man. Because I would imagine, much like Broadway, this is, kind of a highfalutin, high-status area. And shows like this normally sell reasonably well, but Rachel, not exactly that popular on the UK equivalent of Broadway. Snow White is one of, Disney's biggest bombs ever, with a reported budget of nearly $300 million. But we will also see the tax receipts, because as much as she's heading back to be in a play, rather She's returning to the place where a lot of Snow White was filmed, so we're eventually going to get those UK tax receipts, and we're going to see how much Snow White ended up costing. Probably, you're saying nearly 300 million. We're going to be going close to 400 million, and it hasn't even grossed 200 million, and it really doesn't look to be hitting that number anytime soon. You're going to have to factor in home media release, and I'm sure it's going to be a big hit on Disney Plus, and they're going to be able to tout the success. Oh, it's the #1 streaming movie released on a Thursday in June, and oh man, it's so great and fantastic that people got to see this live action remake. And I'm sure we'll have all of the Disney Stan accounts, and I'm sure Collider will have a big write-up. Hey, as much as you didn't give it a chance, okay, Snow White was definitely worth your time, and its success on Disney Plus shows that the chuds were wrong. It happened with Marvel. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, with the Marvels rather. And it's funny, too, how the career of one Captain Marvel very much presaged the trajectory of Rachel Zegler. You know, you got Brie Larson that's definitely in a tailspin, who was also recently on the West End of London and did a play where she ended up, just about shaving her head. Then nobody went and seen that. And now we got another Disney starlet coming out for a very sparsely attended stint, but time will tell what happens moving forward. And I think we're all still waiting for the big Rachel Zegler social media meltdown. She just has a lot on her mind, taking care of a sick dog, which genuinely my sympathy's on. But if anybody needs to be taking some medicine, somebody should get a prescription for that toxic personality. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.